Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful. When the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Yes, it is very stressful when the world's on fire. And yeah, too stressful for me yesterday. I blew up. And I was after the stream. We were good. Everything worked out after the stream. And then I was looking at things and I was like, well, I spent a lot in commissions. Let's just keep working on it. So I was up net $70 or something, which is pretty good on micro futures, right? And then this range area came and just obliterated me. And I think at that point I was like way out of my mind. So I made a bunch of really dumb trades in the range and just got diced. Yeah, it was dumb, but I'm not too sad about it because I learned a great many things yesterday. So we're going to try and test some of these things out on micro time frames. I went back, like afterwards, I was like, wait a second. Went and tested a bunch of things. Yes, learned a couple of things. So we're going to see if they work on micro time frames. By the way, I don't know where this cut on my nose came from. That is so weird. I guess I need to not wear a nose strip for a couple of days. All right, so let's come here. Oh, we need to clear that out. So overnight action. Ooh, so wild. So again, yesterday was just an amazing day. Wow. What a day. They came down, they went and they pushed lower. But they have held it through. I believe that we could get a recovery today. Here we are on the treasuries as well. At the end of the day, they dropped them, and here again, buying from the Europeans didn't get as high, lower high. So we have a setup for recovery day. We should be careful because then they could totally just come back and cancel it out, and then it would be really ugly again. Okay? So, let's come over here. Make sure they got everything correct here. Yep. And yep. Okay, so. Oh, it's already too late. Okay. Well. If I can get that, that's what we want. Mm-hmm. Liquidity and ZB is screaming that today could be messy. Well, yeah, look at the treasury. Well, do we have some news? We have new home sales at 10 o'clock. Hmm. So this may come back more. Mm-mm-mm. Look at the treasuries are messy. This is just like yesterday, actually. Just like yesterday, in that it is just so all over the place. Messy might not cover it. Yeah. Well, sim orders for me. So we can kind of test some of these things. So the thing I am testing here is breaking of levels in ES. And it looks like that this particular one was maybe not a high probability trade. Okay, so like that right there. There they made it to that. Okay. From here. So if they're able to hit me at 31.43, I might reverse and go short here. Okay. Okay. I guess not. The pressure is definitely to the upside, though, I'll tell you that much. We need to turn on the text to speech, by the way. It's so quiet. You guys were so chatty yesterday. Dang, they just want to go without me. I took away so many trades yesterday. The funny thing is with my blowout yesterday was that I had a realized profit. But when you added all the commissions on it, dish. That's how many trades I took. So dumb. I feel so dumb. Oh, let's turn this on. There we go. Hello, random. I am using Jigsaw as the main thing that you're looking at here. All of the DOMs and the numbers are Jigsaw. I also have Ninja Trader 8 for charts. Excuse me.
Random says nice.
No, thank you. I don't know if they can come back and get me.
Random says good luck.
Oh yeah, well we're gonna need it today. I'm just trading some sim orders and gonna test a couple of things because it's just been so wild, you know. Well, the treasuries are seem to be able to pull it out and hold this area for now, even though the E-mini is still kind of ticking up a little bit.
Random says I've been trading on MetaTrader, and that's new. Guess I'll stick to your channel.
Oh, thanks. Well, if you're trading MetaTrader, then you've been trading Forex, yeah? I don't know. Don't listen to me. I'm awful, awful trader. Yeah. I wouldn't
Random
trade
says yes.
Forex. I'm not a very big fan of Forex. I just don't feel like Forex is a very fair game. So we're doing futures. And the thing that is nice about the futures is that I can see everybody's limit orders. You see? Yes, blue column are all of the limit buys, and this red column is all of the limit sells. And I get a feed of the fills that come through, which is not exactly precise, but I can get an idea of whether the market orders are mostly buys or sells. And that can tell you a lot about the balance in the market, right? Mm-mm. Right now, the buyers are definitely in control of the E-mini. This is no good anymore.
Random says yes, I heard about it. I was trading Forex and I guess I'll switch to futures.
Yeah. Well, micros make it nice. You only need $50 in margin to trade the micros.
Burning Dawn says I like Forex for swing position trading. I don't try to day trade it though. Forex has been good to me over the years.
Yeah, I would say that if you have like if you have some sort of above average understanding of geopolitics or something that's about to happen that affects currencies, then yeah, Forex can be great. For scalping though, it's like fool's game. Well, maybe scalping is a fool's game anyways. It's pretty difficult in futures too. Because the issue that you have, so in Forex, the issue you have is that your broker trades against you, right? In futures, the problem that you have is that everybody trades against you.
Random says scalping. Ha ha ha.
Right? Because everybody can see your order and they can all react to it. So man, yesterday, I missed the trade. That sucks. Yes, of course, they're trading against us.
Random says yes, of course. They're trading against us.
So I had the long in there and they went out and they stopped it out and then they moved up. Wah, wah, wah. And the funny thing was that I waited for the other side to get stopped out to get in.
The profit. Algo Lover says S anticipating bounce in search of sellers or not down finger.
I think so.
Algo Lover says 8:14 a.m. Algo Lover S if sellers hold any bounce below 3,176, then 3,066 target. If 76 goes bid before trading lower, then anticipate a squeeze higher nerd face.
76. Okay. Tell you what, your level yesterday, there was some real so I was shorting it, right? And I shorted it all the way down to Algo Lover's level. And then I wasn't quite sure, like, okay, so can it continue after that? And then the crazy just kept going. And I traded both
Algo
ways,
Lover says okay hand winking face.
but it was, I can point out the spot that fucked me over. Man, oh, I'm so mad about it. So mad about it. Okay, it was around 2:10 Eastern time. We had these bars that were like, oh my gosh, like 20-point range bars over a 5-minute period. So over a 20-minute period, it moved back and forth across the 20 tick range like 20 times, and I just got stopped out over and over again. It sucked. I'm mad. I blew it. I was like, don't follow my trades. I'm not doing so great right now. Well, especially in the E-mini. I'm still learning in the E-mini. We do okay in the treasury. Especially when it's risk off. Ah. Good pullback. Okay.
Random says guess I should lock the profit on MetaTrader and continue watching.
Lock the profit. Yeah, well, you can watch it on record and yeah, so a lot of the people that watch, they just watch
Burning
the
Dawn
replay.
says true. Forex brokers can trade against you, but they can't change bigger trends.
Yep.
Like money flowing out of Europe due to the insanity of Brussels and the ECB.
You're totally right.
Algo Lover says crazy, filled my log up astonished face.
Yeah, at that point, you just have to have a big enough stop for him, right? So let's see if that little spike there, what they do from it. Yeah, okay. So that's what we were looking for. I would have preferred it
Algo
long,
Lover
but
says 8:14 a.m. Algo Lover, CL if sellers sustain offer below 50, then 48.65 target. If 50 goes bid before that target trades, then anticipate squeeze higher nerd face.
So what I'm testing today is when we get a strong move
Algo
like
Lover
that.
says HAGD, thumbs up.
Hey, thanks, Algo. When I get like a little sweep like that, okay, just like that one right there, it was a push down. I want to see them come back above where it was by a few ticks. And then come back.
Random says I go short on gold at 1648.49. As I was analyzing it will go even down.
You're short on gold. Wow. There's so many people are trying to push gold
Random
and
says
it's
I'll
not
register
working.
to your broker.
You know, it's so I really wish that in the US they could pay me as an introducing broker. In the EU they can do that, but in the US you can't. I do have an affiliate link for Jigsaw. Some people have criticized me for that, but you know what? It's software that I believe in. Oh, here, are they going to do it? It's software that I believe in, and I could choose to support anything that I want. I really like Jigsaw. So I have a video called What is the Best?
Says at random Tuesday 8:04 a.m. Algo Lover, GC if sellers maintain offer below 1670.50, then 1622 target. If 1670.50 goes bid before trading lower, then anticipate a squeeze higher nerd face.
On gold. So if you go to, there's a video that's what is the best futures trading software platform on my channel. Like if you go to the channel page, you'll find it. And in there, I have an affiliate link. You can also find it in the Discord for Jigsaw. So if you buy Jigsaw and you use that affiliate link, then I get a little bit. So, or, you know, just watch the channel. You don't have to do anything. because
Random
that helps.
says it's normal to have affiliate link. I'll register.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, because the other thing is I have a regular day job. Like I'm a computer programmer. I only do this for 2 hours, so it's not like I'm beholden to needing people on the YouTube channel to support me, or that I have to be making money trading to, I kind of look at it as
Random
like
says I see.
I can put a certain amount of money into it, and if I'm able to make money on it, then it's great, and if I fail, then not. This past one, this market was so wild. I was, it's I shouldn't think about it, but I screwed up. I probably, the thing that really makes me mad is that I had some shorts, and then I was like, well, okay, I don't want to deal with the pullbacks and everything, but I really should have just held my shorts. If I had held my shorts, I would have made filthy amounts of money. Oh my gosh. It just makes me so mad thinking about it. But maybe if I had done that, things would have, I don't know. If I had done that and then everybody else was trying to do that, then it probably would have moved differently, huh? Okay, what's going on here? So I noticed that every time that they came up to the top of where that sweep was, there it has been pushback. Okay. See how they're still having a hard time getting into 46? Okay. So I want to see them go above it. All right.
Gary Rich says introducing broker I almost choked on my almond milk.
Right. Isn't that what it's called? You can be a introducing broker in the EU, but not in the US for futures. Oh, why did that not fill? The Sim should have given that one to me. Bah. Humbug. Okay. It's requiring it to go back through. Okay. Treasuries have this order at 26.5. It's kind of interesting. Seems like he's stacking. Oh, yeah. He likes that.
Andre Santos says good morning, hope everyone does well today. Gary Rich says if they get to 90K infected, expect another rip down on these markets.
You think so? I think that for there to be like a straight up rip down, that it would need to be more than just, a number of infected people. Like maybe a confirmed case of person-to-person transmission in the United States, or confirmed cases in France or the UK, something like that. Confirmed cases in Germany, probably, right? 45 would have been nice as well.
Winstanza mom says good morning, Asher's father. I am afraid to
Hello.
ask, but how is everyone? My schedule is all off and I seem to miss most of the morning, lately.
Oh, no, they've been doing good. He's, man, I tell you what, when he's hungry, he gets so mad. He's all like, he grunts a ton and he gets really upset. Okay, so far, the thing that I've been trying to look at does not appear to be working on a short time frame, but I want to give it a chance. I could maybe we need to just do it on a smaller amount. Like maybe I only need um a point. When the US suffered a particularly bad flu outbreak in 2017, an estimated 45 million cases and 61,000 deaths, no one suggested banning travel, says the Financial Times. Remember.
Winston's
We
mom says, already a little man. Everyone knows the way to a man's heart is through his tummy, but gosh,
Oh, there
some
you
have a
go.
bit too much tummy. Have you gotten to the gym, yet?
Oh yeah, I was at the gym yesterday. Yeah, no, remember, we overreact to pandemics. I was I was watching a video the other day, and they said that one of the biggest risks to pandemics is actually that the governments redirect the funds away from other diseases. Like tuberculosis is actually the most deadly disease worldwide. And when they divert the funds away from tuberculosis, more people die of tuberculosis. And that's actually a bigger killer than the pandemic. Just to put things in perspective. So, like here in this one, yeah, it had a very adverse effects on the Chinese economy. But why? Because the Chinese overreacted. So if it comes to the EU or the United States, um, the economic impacts
Winston's mom
might not
says,
have to be
everyone
so
please take a
severe.
quick second to hit like. I understand this helps our immune system. Okay, maybe not, but please do hit like.
Thanks. Oh man, she's so much better at that than me.
Andre Santos says done.
Thank you, Andre. Um, hmm. It's kind of interesting the way that the E-mini has kind of been middling around here. Yeah. Okay. So you can see where somebody's selling it pretty hard. Oh, and making a little bit of progress too. But then look, see, so he like sold it from 42 and now it's back to his 42. He's probably not too happy, is he?
Winston's mom says my friend in Singapore said the stores are very empty now. She
Oh,
was
that's
trying to find
interesting.
rubbing alcohol and antibiotics are impossible to find. I suggested she look to the prepper's idea. Fish antibiotics.
Yeah, so that's really interesting too, because a lot of people in the United States are worried about supply shortages. I really do not think that transportation and production infrastructure in the United States is going to fall apart. I really don't. But people might buy a lot of stuff because they're afraid. Well, I tell you what, this is they're hitting it pretty hard there. Okay. And the treasuries did come up too. Oh, you know what? This chart right here is
Masiak says hi.
Hey. Oh no, that's correct. 27.5. Huh? How are you doing today, Masiak? They might want to try and make it down to 38. But if they can't, oh, actually, they can't. Pay attention, Seth. See, it would have worked. Oh, okay, so that's not supposed to happen. Nope. I think that we want to puke that one. Well, I'm just going to let it hit the stop. That was crazy. Jeez. I don't think it matters where I take this. It's probably going to do crazy shit and stop me out. There's some crazy sweeps here in this market, man. That's crazy. This is not normal. For those of you were earlier talking from coming in from Forex, that is not normal. Does not happen normally.
Gary Rich says so many videos of corona rumors in USA outbreak, what a joke and response.
Rumors in US? I mean, they're basically saying it's inevitable that it's going to get here, but
Burning Dawn says takes a lot of guts to put yourself out there like you do. You think the accountability has made you a better trader?
I mean, yes, but I think the thing that makes me a better trader is just having a community of people to be able to turn to when I'm having issues. People share with me ideas all the time when there's things that I'm doing that are just flat out wrong. You know, people will show me stuff that shows that it's a bad idea. You know, and those things help so tremendously. So it's kind of cool. Like streaming has definitely made me a better trader.
Him on the head when he gets silly face with tongue.
Streaming has definitely made me a better trader, and I feel like that everybody in the community gets to benefit from it just as much as I do. You know what I mean? The accountability is like, I mean, the problem with the accountability isn't that accountability doesn't help. It definitely does. But my problem is I'm just seem to get into this mode where I'm impulsive. And when I get into that mode, there's not a whole lot that you guys can do to stop me.
But you usually ignore our suggestions face with medical mask.
You can normally ignore our suggestions, yeah. Well, so there's this one. There's the other problem is that sometimes people will share things with me, and there's no way for me to know if what they're saying is reliable or not. You know what I mean? So the thing that I found so
like I said yesterday, trading online is not easy. Respect Seth for you.
Something that I found really frustrating is that I'll have
Gary Rich says people wreck that people stack 6 months of supplies here in the USA. Fools.
Yeah, I have some supplies, not 6 months though. No, so something that'll happen frequently is I'll get somebody that shows me stats that they're successful. And they'll explain their trade to me, and then I'll go and I'll backtest their trade and it's not profitable. It's like, what? So it's like There's something that they are doing that they are not even consciously aware of that's allowing them to make money.
Winston's mom says, "Bots, you are wearing a mask, and I absolutely think that's fantastically funny. You are the first person I have seen do this. Sick, you are sick, bots, lol." Bots says, "And good morning, all waving hand."
This virus has.
Uzi Knesset says, "You know what's funny? This virus has the market selling like crazy. In my portfolio, the only position I have that's still kicking ass is our Clorox Holdings, lol."
Okay, so that one, it gave me one step. So I can do that.
Winston's mom says, "I wonder if they will run out of emoticon masks."
So John, I am trying to test one of the things that I learned from the back testing that we did yesterday, right? So the thing that I learned was I was looking at an outside bar, and there was a particular set of circumstances where when the outside bar was retraced and failed, that, you know, you had a really good trade and it would run. And I tried a bunch of different ways because I was setting like a stop limit order. So I was setting it as like, if the top of the outside bar was 43, I would make it hit 44 before my stop would hit. And when my stop did hit, the limit order would go in at 43 or 42. It was actually even better if it hit 42, but only you didn't get as many
says,
trades.
"One guy the first listened to says it's not the virus. It's foreign capital scared of Bernie's surge."
No. No. Are you kidding me? No. No. Okay, listen. The chances of Bernie Sanders beating Donald Trump are like 40% to 60%. Okay? Like, it's extremely unlikely. And to me, the idea of foreign capital being scared of Bernie Sanders' surge is patently ridiculous to me. Like, would Bernie Sanders be any worse than Pete Buttigieg or Elizabeth Warren? Like, they're all proposing the same policies, guys. The only difference is that Sanders is a cultural Marxist, which is to say that he believes that capitalism is immoral, or at least that the way that capitalism is practiced in the United States is immoral.
Gary Rich says, "Seth, how years are you back testing with?"
Good question. I went all the way back to 2008. So, with this particular setup, the thing that was interesting about it was that when I go all the way back to 2008, it kind of makes money, and then it kind of loses
John
money.
Smith says
makes
Sanders praised Fidel Castro and defended it. His surge is over.
I don't know if that's going to affect him.
Bots says, "One of the best books I ever read was called The Shock Doctrine. I honestly think it should be a book every trader reads before they start trading. You'll read the news with a different perspective."
Yeah. So wait. So Gary, I traded on 8 years.
"What indicator do you use?"
Which one? So I was the thing that we were working on was just a 5-minute bar where the high and low of that bar were higher and lower than the high and low of the previous bar. That was it. Okay, but there's a bunch of other qualifications that I'm not going to go into. Okay, there's a specific situation in which it really works. Okay, but it was like it would work really well. It kind of worked okay well for a while, and then the last like 2 years or so, it started working really, really well. It's almost like the trade is specifically, or at least when I'm backtesting, is specifically taking advantage of the Trump put. You know what I mean? It's very, very interesting. So that worked. That's interesting. See, like I just let it run. I don't know how far I should let it run though. So with the trade that I was doing, this is not the specific situation, but you could let it run all day. That one, I let it run Damn, that's good. Could take the 50, I don't know. Like what I made off of that one more than made up for the losers that we had, right? Oh, not quite.
Winston's mom says Naomi Klein, The Shock Doctrine. I'll check out this book, thanks bots. Gary Rich says next question, are you testing that strategy each year alone like 08, only 09, only 10, only on and on?
I just set the back tester to go all the way back to 2008 until now. Have a picture.
Bots says that Trump put comment makes no sense. Why would it work for the last 2 years when he's been in office almost 4 years?
I don't think that the Trump put really became a thing until like the last 2 years though, right? It only became a thing when it was like they started doing volatile things. Could be wrong. But that's my theory at least. Okay, so here it was. I was curve fitting it a little bit by testing a bunch of different things about what your stop and everything are. Okay, but here it is. You can see you make a little bit of money in it. Oh, this was only going back the last 2 years, but then this last, since basically August of 2018, all of a sudden it's like amazeballs.
Bots says it's not a trading book at Winston's mom, but it is an enlightening read.
Okay. Is my stop gonna get hit? Yep, okay. Yeah, anyways, it does really well during this time period. Now, anyways, the thing that I'm trying to test here specifically, though, was that I found that if I had a level that it was going to break, if I let it break by a point first and then let it come back and fill me, it was a lot more effective. And if I could get even a point lower, then it was a lot more effective. So that's why what I'm trying to do is just watch on a micro time frame and say, okay, I see a sweep down. So I'm going to say the sweep down is like
Gary
an outside
Rich
bar.
says try testing any strategy each year individually, then try every 2 years, every 3 years, etc., etc.
Why would that make a
Winston's
difference?
mom says, enlightening, yes, and so might be electroshock therapy, as Klein explains, apparently. This will be right up my alley of interest.
It might change the way that the back test, the optimizations for the back test, but it's not going to change, the profitability of it, right? Unless you have something that like adds contracts as it goes, which I suppose we could do. That's the next thing was like, with that particular trade, if I get that situation, you add to that as it goes, man. Because it just has such a high percentage chance of running. It's insane. It's like 75% chance that you can just write it all day. I was so shocked. And I didn't believe it. I went back and like looked at the individual entries. It was taking it exactly the way that I wanted it to. Okay, so they just broke down through my original entry. So that is kind of the opposite situation, right? But I just want to see like, okay, so if I do that with some of these spots that I've been looking at, does it change my stats at all? Doesn't help though that failed like 3 times.
Gary Rich says, I guess you don't know how to properly backrest.
What you're saying doesn't make any sense, dude. If I run it on 2017 and then I run it individually on 2018, the results of it are going to be the same as if I ran it from all of 2017 and 2018, right? I'm basically backtesting it over those whole time frames. Now, if you're talking about doing a walk forward optimization, then that's different. But when I did the walk forward optimizations, that was the different thing. that was more trying to figure out how far it can actually go, because there's a bigger issue with the strategy. Oh, you can't see it. So here's a problem that bothers me about it. The Sharpe ratio of it is less than 1. And the probability that I get from the NinjaTrader back tester is not super high. It's like 1%, 10%. So what's happening is, because it's so dependent on the runners, it's so dependent on the runners that
Anthony Monroe says, "What's up, Seth?"
Hey, Anthony, how's it going? It's so dependent on the runners that you kind of get these weird things when you backtest it. Like, the higher you set your profit target, the better you do, because there are some days where it just ran and ran and ran and ran, and those make so much more compared to everything else that it skews it all up. You'd have to like remove those outliers, which is impossible because there's so many of them. So there's some problems with it, but it kind of when I saw like
Gary
what
Rich
made it
says,
work
"Never
better
mind.
and what made it
It's
not work
useless to
better,
discuss this with you."
it didn't.
Bot says ZP is trying to test Globex Open 167.07 stalling so far at 03.
I'm just gonna assume you're trolling, because what you're saying makes 0 sense, dude. So going back, yeah, but that was the one thing that
Winston's
worked.
mom says, "I am scanning the headlines and someone has written an article that says their baby was born minus his anus. Wow, that different. They said they frantically began Googling, no butthole, excuse me."
Okay. And what would you? That's so weird. Okay. Anyways, yeah, but it was just the things that made it work better or not. There was a couple of other things about it that were very much like not the way that I was looking at that bar setup that made it profitable, that were very contrary to what I had believed. So I learned a lot from that.
Winston's mom says, "I prefer the shock doctrine as a read to that read about a new baby minus his you know what."
Right. What were we going back? Oh yeah, the question about what's causing some of the market reaction. I don't think it has anything to do with Bernie Sanders. I think that's ridiculous. Okay, but there is some other things going on. Okay, one of the big things that's going on that not very many people are picking up on, because the coronavirus thing is overshadowing everything else, is that the Japanese made a change that basically allows the pension funds to come over and start buying the U.S. treasuries. So the Japanese yen correlation. Let's see, what has it been doing today? Sure. It's actually been okay the past few days. They've been fairly correlated. But the correlation with the Japanese yen and the treasuries has broken down a little bit in the past, month or so. And so a lot of money is coming in from Europe and Japan into the treasury. And then that in turn freaks out the equities.
Harlequin says, "So after 4 red days in a row, will we finally get a green one again, or will they dump the Amini further? And counting today, more than 300 points drop in 5 days.
Yeah. Well, at the moment, what I see is market that should be moving up and is being fought extremely hard. We caught a good runner on that one trade, right? Well, I suppose because we took it at 39, we could still be in it. Well, did we really get it all the way down there? Huh? Well, that was not bad. Maybe I should have held it. But we'll see. That's part of what we're learning here. That's why I straight up screwed up yesterday, right? But I'm not I'm not like depressed like I should be
Winston's
because I
mom says
felt
the
like I
Wall
learned so
Street Journal
much.
has an article titled Japan's Pension Whales and it was written 5 days ago. I won't link because the article would probably appear as spam.
Yeah, Japan's pension whales. That's exactly the article where they talk about it. Like they changed the designation so that the pensions could come over here and buy them because they the Japanese bonds yield negative, and the pensions can't handle that. That's why I keep saying if we get negative interest rates in the United States, that will be such a disaster for the world. Mm-mm. No, I think I missed it. Treasuries are coming back down quite a bit too. In fact, they're almost giving me a sell. So there's that. What else is there going on? Yeah, I'm sure it's mostly
Gary Rich says
coronavirus.
I love these markets when they crack off 3% up or down. Love it and want more.
It scares the crap out of me, Gary. I need help. I really do. Um, yeah. Like I'm excited because I got back tested that one thing, but then when it does look like there are some things about it that would make me cautious about taking it. But
Anthony Monroe says sounds like the chloroquine used against malaria is working pretty well against coronavirus.
then what? Then what do I do? You know? I feel like I'm constantly like chasing and then eventually I find out that it doesn't work, you know? That's frustrating. I guess I don't have to. I can just enjoy trading it and trade it sim if I have to, but I would really, really like to just do well. Yesterday, I should have just held the short. Like, why didn't I do that?
Gary Rich says did you hear what SMB said? This month could be the best ever for the firm.
I'm sure.
Bots says S is down 9.02% from the recently minted all-time high at 3,397.50.
You just remember, we overreact to pandemics. Pandemic triggers something in our psyche that causes inordinate amount of fear in some people. So yeah, they're going to overdo it. They're always going to overdo it. So on this one, I probably should have been thinking like that. Let's just stick it there and see if they push up again. And yeah, like could they sell again today? I think so. But the more days that they sell in a row, just the harder the retrace is going to be when it happens. It has to happen at some point. Wow, they didn't trade that. Interesting. Okay, cool. See that one, I was saying like I should probably only be taking the small target on that. That was because that one was not triggered by a like a
Gary
sweep.
Rich says corona isn't a pandemic, it's an epidemic so far.
It was just a price that which I saw that they were that was an edge of sorts. It's not a pandemic. I mean, it's in multiple countries, so as far as I'm concerned. Of course, it's not in North America, so I guess that's what you need to call it, a pandemic. But I mean, do you not think that it's going to make it to the United States? I'd say that now that it's in Italy, it is pretty likely to just spread through the whole Western world. I would just say the market might overestimate the impact that will have on Western nations. I mean, like, if you look at what happened in China and then you apply it to the West, I don't think it's going to be the same thing. You know, I just not so sure that they're just going to shut down all business.
Bot says you need a more reliable news source there, Mr. Seth. Uzi Knesset says it's already here. About? It isn't spreading yet the way it is elsewhere, but there are cases here already.
Oh, okay. That's different though, right?
Bot says, how can you say it isn't in North America?
Okay, so if one person that traveled to Wuhan came back to Chicago and they caught it and they gave it to their wife and then they were the only people that had it, I don't think that that's the same thing, right? Now, if they had just by chance transmitted it to somebody else and it's been long enough for us to know that that didn't happen, I'd say, okay, it's a different thing. It's a different thing. Yeah, there's cases here, and it's like you're talking about a technicality. Okay, for the purposes of what we're doing, it's not here.
RJ says it's still isolated here, not epidemic here.
Yep.
Uzi Knesset says they just deposited a bunch of infected cruise people in Alabama.
Oh, that's right. But I mean, they're quarantined. That shouldn't be. We'll see.
Gary Rich says millions equals pandemic, not tens of thousands. We tend to conflate the terms.
Okay. Okay. Wow, that's true.
Bot says, what planet were you living on when SARS arrived here?
I really don't remember a whole lot about SARS, to be honest. Certainly wasn't looking at markets when it... Well, actually, maybe I was. What year was SARS? 2003? Yeah, well, that was before I was looking at markets, so I don't remember how they reacted. I remember it. I was on the internet. I remember it happening, but to me, it was just like a passing curiosity in the news and not a big deal. But that's where I go back to, like, I'm telling you, some people are triggered by it more than others. And I'm not one of the people that gets triggered by it.
Gary Rich says 50,000 die every year in car accidents. Is that a pandemic or epidemic?
Right.
RJ Wheel says SARS never got out of control. Toronto worst hit, and even there it was biz as usual.
And as I understand it, SARS was not as contagious as this, right? Maybe equal or slightly less death rate, but in terms of contagiousness, not as bad. But, you know, some of those statistics kind of are deceptive. Like, most of the people that catch it and get sick are older
Uzi
people,
Knesset
right?
says, I mean, you can't catch car accidents from people, so I'd say there's a difference there, lol.
Yeah. But you just remember, there are parts of our brain, there are literally personalities that have evolved purely to avoid getting sick from pandemics, right? The people that were closed don't want to be around other people, are really cautious of foreigners. Those people lived because they didn't get sick.
RJ Wheel says you can from drink drivers.
Right? So it is a cognitive bias.
RJ Wheel says drunk.
It is a cognitive bias. And there are other people that didn't care about those things and were successful economically because they didn't care about those things. And so that's how the openness trait was able to evolve. I think I'm more open, right? So it doesn't bother me. I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm really concerned about if my child catches it. Because
Uzi Knesset says now that's a technicality, lol.
I have not seen very many, to my understanding, there haven't really been
Joey
very
George
many cases
says, are
of
you
young
talking
kids.
to a bot?
No. Every time that you guys say something in YouTube chat, it reads it out to me. I have created a program that allows me to read them out.
Bot says my point about SARS was in reference to your comment about it not being in North America. If you believe that, you're a very naive young man.
So
Andre Santos says no child in China below 10 years infected have died.
Yeah.
Andre Santos says has asterisk.
And I think that the number of children that actually were infected is really low as well. So I think that one is still kind of in the, like, we don't really know how dangerous it is for young kids. But I'm afraid of my child catching it, yeah, because I have an infant. I don't know how far SARS got in North America, but
Gary Rich says women driving while doing their makeup, that's pandemic. Arash says good morning. Did you guys discuss as to why Bitcoin is dropping with the market? I would have guessed the opposite reaction.
So, Arash, that's a really good question. So let's pull up Bitcoin here. I'm in a spot where I can't really trade it. So, here's the Bitcoin, and you can see here. I really need to zoom it out.
Harlequin says no one is noticing the coronavirus hoax. Since then nobody is talking about Hong Kong. Evil laugh.
You guys. So the issue in Bitcoin was that above 10K, it is extremely overbought. At least from my metrics, based on how much money is going through the blockchain, it is extremely overbought above 10K. And then what happened was,
Winston's mom says Gary Rich, I promise you that I am not one of those women who are driving and applying their makeup. You are safe if I am on the road.
Thank you, Winston. Thank you. We're all safer with Winston's mom on the road. Okay, now hold on. Let me pause it for a second. It was overbought over 10K. So then things came in. People expected that in a flight to safety trade, that Bitcoin would move up as well, right? But here's the thing that you got to remember about Bitcoin. There is nothing inherent about Bitcoin that makes it a flight to safety. Absolutely none. The people that say that there is, they're wrong. The Bitcoin, people buy Bitcoin to do stuff with it or to invest with it. Okay. Now, if there is a global pandemic, are people going to buy a lot of stuff with Bitcoin? No, people aren't going to buy as much stuff. Are people going to want to invest in risky assets? No. They don't want to invest in the most risky thing out there. And it was already high. So what happens? The guys that were already in it took profits. And you can see from the cumulative delta on this chart that I'm showing you right here, look at that little chart down on the bottom. That's the cumulative delta. Look at how hard it dropped on that last swing, because we're coming into the futures expiration and everything like that. They took their profits. Now let's see if the next month, if they go short. Could happen. And that's what I believe is happening in Bitcoin right now.
Masiak says much more people die of ordinary flu than of coronavirus.
It's true.
Bot says you live in a country that denied having any cases of mad cow disease until they appeared in offshore shipments of the products, and now you're basing your comments on the same news sources.
So I don't know
Gary Rich says we didn't have to bomb Iran, we just sent corona to them. MAGA.
Okay. Are you claiming that
RJ Wheels says plus fell to where big boys have their stops triggered.
Plus fell to where boys have, yeah. Are you implying, John, that there are more cases of coronavirus in the United States than has been acknowledged? That would require pretty good proof. But as of yet, it is not a widespread thing in the United States. We're not getting new cases of coronavirus in the United States.
Absolutely.
Okay, prove it. Find me a source. Show me where you got that source from. There was a case in Chicago. There was like 2 cases in California. I think there was like one in New York, but there has not been any, to my knowledge, there has not been any person to person transmission outside of family of coronavirus in the United States. As in like being afraid to go outside because you'll catch coronavirus, highly unlikely at the moment. Okay, well, we're coming up on the open here. I'm going to want to try and pay attention and see it, since I'm on sim orders, see if I can catch.
Antenna Wild says when SARS occurred in 2003, China's share of global GDP was 8.7%. Today it is 19.3%. Big difference.
Wow, they're overselling it like crazy.
Harlequin says, by the way, what about the Democratic debate? Was it entertaining? Only
You
saw
know
a
what?
clip from The Daily Show where everybody ganged up on Bernie.
I
RJ
was
Wheels says Trump circled the affected areas with a Sharpie. Just a few dots.
I was so absorbed in my back testing yesterday that I completely forgot that there was a debate, and I only read about it afterwards. But it didn't sound like it was really very important of a debate. So I don't know. Well, I missed that one. I could wait and let it come back for me. But I think I called that one to a T, right? Oh, they're way overselling it. I totally wanted to buy it. Well, where can I get in? I don't think I can. I have to wait for it
RJ
to come
Wheels
back.
says shit show. Family Thanksgiving. Gary Rich says USA has 50
Okay,
cases
50
so far.
cases.
Gary Rich says we've tested many.
And are any of those from people that weren't in Wuhan? I mean, because the thing from the CDC is saying that there's not an outbreak in the United States yet. Cases does not equal outbreak. Let's use that terminology, yeah? Okay. No hit there.
Bots says keyword yet.
Yet.
Winston's mom says Al Jazeera is reporting Trump will speak about the virus. 2300 GMT, so it's 1431 GMT now, which means he will speak later this afternoon.
Well, I'm sure it's probably, now that there's been an outbreak in Italy, I think it's pretty likely that you will see outbreaks in all Western countries. I don't know if they'll be like full on widespread, but yeah, we'll probably see outbreaks everywhere at some point. The larger point that I'm making is that it's not the end of the world. Right? Like China, you got to remember, okay? A paternalistic government like China has an incentive to make it out to be a bigger deal than it really is, because that's how they keep their people in line.
Uzi Knesset says Europe wants pandemic for extra diversity, lol.
Right. I just like, if it comes to the United States, like, it's going to come to the United States. There's going to be cases. It's just like the flu. Okay. It's not the end of the world. You don't have to shut down the whole economy before it. You just.
Gary Rich says watching Dem debates is like watching cats in litter box.
Man. Well, I think I should wait for this whole like bar to cancel out and everything. And I thought that the last debate was entertaining. I'm told that they all kind of went after Bernie, but it didn't sound
Uzi
like anybody
Knesset
really
says I swear
laid a blow.
Buttigieg was trying to bait Bernie into another heart attack last night, lol.
Oh man, you watch, so the debate, the last debate, not the one yesterday, but the one last week, when when they went after Bernie, yeah, it was like he was going to have an aneurysm. I think he might have a temper. Don't you think? It was a little odd to me. His response to me was like, well, I don't want that guy to be commander in chief. He doesn't seem to me like somebody that would respond too well when none of his stuff is implemented. And when everybody, let's think about Donald Trump, okay? Like the whole establishment in Washington, D.C. has been fighting him. No question about it, right? Now, has Donald Trump reacted
Uzi
to it
Knesset
well?
says it does appear that angering him is a tactic at the debates.
I would say as much as I approve of many of the things that the president has done, I don't think that he's responded to that antagonism very well. I think that it's been a really big roadblock to getting anything done during his presidency. And maybe some changes might have been better. Okay, but when I look at Bernie, I think I see the same kind of problem, except for that I'm afraid that Bernie would just like devolve into complete madness when everybody decides that they don't want socialism. I don't know. His reaction was just a little too. Now maybe it's acting, but I don't know. Are we gonna get an inside bar here?
Gary Rich says Seth, a local Air Force base, has quarantined people from overseas.
Okay, yeah. I don't understand. What I keep hearing is technicality. Outbreak hasn't happened in the United States yet. An outbreak in which it would actually affect us, like markets, hasn't happened yet. It hasn't. And you're bringing up technicalities that don't really apply to the specific thing that we're interested in. Interesting that treasuries are still just sitting here. Well, they moved higher. I don't think that I'm ever going to get the setup that I wanted. That one looks
Gary Rich says if Bernie is a socialist, why does he have 3 homes? His wife scamming 300 mil, that's a socialist or good capitalist.
I thought when Bloomberg hit him on that was pretty good moment for sure. Did you notice? I saw this one thing that was like quotes from Bernie. I'm sure that it was all cherry picked and everything, but he was being like, millionaires shouldn't exist. This shouldn't exist. And then when he had enough money that he was a millionaire, then he started going after billionaires, and he didn't talk about millionaires anymore. I don't think I honestly believe that Bernie Sanders has an ideology.
RJ Wheel says 300 mil. Ace Trades says morning fam.
I feel like that he has an ideology that drives him, and he is not aware of it. I don't really think that Bernie Sanders understands the things and emotions that motivate and drive him. He seems not very self-aware to me. Donald Trump, on the other hand, seems very self-aware but incapable of controlling himself. Versus, like Obama, somebody probably very self-aware and very controlled.
Winston's mom says good morning, Ace Trades, and it is always a good morning when you are in Speculator Seth. Winston's mom says S house. Little finger too quick, lol.
I need help, Ace. I took too many trades yesterday. Oh, I'm missing all the fun. Every time I've tried to put an order in, they didn't catch me. See how they're, see, but look.
Nasiak says you can explain the inside bar technique.
You see that at 150, at 53? That's right. All I'm doing here is looking at a key level and looking for the level to break by at least a point for confirmation that it's broken. And then look to catch it back at the level. I don't think that that's a trade that you can take, you know, every time and make money 50% of the time or anything like that. But it was
Bot
just
says Ace was in speculator Seth.
Ace just said something there. Yeah, I blew up yesterday, Ace. I was doing well, and then a zone came in and chopped me up. Should have stopped trading.
Bot says wow BFFs.
Yeah.
Uzi Knesset says deeply.
I think I need way more practice before. I don't think that I should have been trading what I was trading live. I was not practiced enough in like a crazy market to be trading it like that. Man, look at this thing go. That's a buy if ever I saw one. Yeah, and they're beating out the overnight high now as well. Like, okay, you'd buy that? Maybe. Sure. That's too much.
Gary Rich says Bernie honeymooned in Russia, loves Cuba, Venezuela. See a pattern. Maybe Bernie is a Russian plant.
No, but this is where I'm saying that, like, okay, during that
Winston's
time,
mom says I hope not bots.
During that time, he was all he's always been pro socialism.
RJ Wheels says YM target 27,550.
They were friendly with Russia. At the time, they thought that the antagonism between the United States and Russia was unjustified and that we should be buddies with Russia. Okay? When it was the Vietnam War, he thought that we shouldn't be at war with Vietnam and they were going on towards Vietnam. That's Bernie. And he's going on those things, and then later in retrospect, they look really, really bad.
Winston's mom says I don't think their wives would approve.
And you think, okay.
Ace Trade says at Winston's mom good morning. Got lots of distractions today. How are you?
How do you end up being...
RJ Wheels says honeymoon in Russia sounds like a Nicolas Cage movie.
How do you end up being wrong about something like that so much, right? You don't like sit back at some point and say, hey.
Winston's mom says good, Ace enjoying this rainy wintry weather and doing a bit of laundry.
Ace, we need to get together. Like, I'm like, oh man, let me close this. Because I stopped out, like I was up like $70, and then I lost it all, and I hit the limit, like literally I straight up blew the account, and I just can't. But then it didn't like get me down, because I was like, well, wait a second, because I was doing things that were different, and I was like, well, okay, this thing worked, and this thing worked, and I'm noticing this thing didn't work, and I went back and back tested some of it, and I was able to prove some evidence about some of those things, and here I'm trying them again today, and I can kind of see them, and I think I could apply it to your thing, but I got to know, like, I want to back test it. I want to go and look at the what the specifics of it are to see if I can pull more out of it. So we got to get together. You just need to come over here. You need to come here, and we'll spend an afternoon and we'll program it. That's what we need to do. Because I'm just like, I should be depressed. I should be like discouraged and like just giving up. But like, I just want to keep going, you know? Oh man, look at that. Oh, That one was no good. Okay. Oh. Okay. Wrong. Wrong. Stay out. See that? How it's not filling me? Okay. They might stop me out. Yeah. Think we've had a turn there. No. That one was just because I already had a stop sitting out there. It didn't cancel, I guess. Okay. That's not what you want to see. Hmm. Oh, sorry. I muted you guys.
Winston's mom says good, Ace enjoying this rainy wintry weather and doing a bit of laundry. Ace trades says it Winston's mom nice. Gary Rich says Seth and Ace are secret lovers. We can't break that bromance up. I've tried lol. Winston's mom says Nicolas Cage could do just about anything anywhere and he would be entertaining, but the idea of Honeymoon in Russia as a sequel to Honeymoon in Vegas is a pretty good idea. Harlequin says okay Amini chill please. I want a pullback and then get in long. Masiak says Russia respected only strength. Ace Trade says it Gary Rich love is love, you can't stop it. Winston's mom says I have discovered day traders who use astrology and astronomy to track the planetary cycles and buy or sell based on what aspect of what planet is currently in motion or retrograde. Gary Rich
That's
says
funny.
at Ace if he offers you milk and cookies. Have the dog drink first then wait,
Oh gosh, guys. Took me a second to figure out what he's talking about. See, so this is kind of what I thought is like, when it works, it's amazing, but the probability of it working is not so good. So at least not with the degree of a stop that I'm looking at. And certainly not with as much as this market is moving. See? No. Fuck.
Winston's mom says once upon a time people believed that drinking leftover milk from a bowl after ferrets drank the milk in the bowl could cure whooping cough.
So that was a failure lower there. Then you miss it, right? Then you chase it. You buy it at there, and they're going to come back to here. And then look, that one holds. But it's only holds a few times. They might test it again and then be able to push it down again. This still kind of looks to me like a market that should move up, but is being fought really hard. And notice where my order is. There's a ton. I don't know if somebody's doing that.
Winston's mom
If
says
that's
if
one of
Asher
you guys,
develops a
cut it
whooping
out.
cough, I will write here to help speculator Seth with leftover milk to send you.
If that's
Ferrets
one of you
shouldn't
guys,
really
cut
have
it
milk,
out.
but in Asher's case, we can make an exception. Christoph Chesney says can you apply that method after 60 minutes from start of the session? Antenna Wild says markets rose 8% 1 month after SARS, but fell 7%
I don't
1 month
know.
after Ebola.
But
My
so
bet is the markets will drop over the next 2 weeks before recovering.
you might have missed something that I was saying, Christoph, but the issue with it is not that is that it doesn't work. Right? When it works, it runs because you're picking up a certain condition, but the probability of it working isn't very good. So what we've got to do is we've got to figure out the specific situations in which it's safe to take.
Winston's mom says 33 watching now. Will everyone please take a quick second to hit like? Thank you. Speculators' its channel does better around the 20 like point.
Oh, thank you. See how it stopped me out? It's been stopping me out more than it's been running.
Captain America says yo.
Captain America? How did you get that
Antenna
name on
Wild
YouTube?
says okay.
How did you do that? Wow, it's impressive, friend. Now, I think part of the reason why it's not working is because they're just in a downtrend, right? So, like, the other side of this was here. Yeah. Yeah. So what we need to do is we need
Captain
to find
America
something.
says because that's I am official.
He's official. Wait, is he?
Amin Riyadh says smashed. Winston's mom says Captain American welcome and speculator Seth is correct. It's a marvel you have that name.
I don't know how to click on his name in this chat. I want to see his profile. I'll have to figure it out later. So funny. See, so because I'm short and the impulse is short, they didn't stop me out. You see that? So what we got to do is we got to combine it with something that gives us more than a 50% chance that it's going to go our direction, essentially. Which I don't think I have. Well, I got this. They sure are selling it.
Captain America says whole Marvel is watching you now. Iran man need you beyond the space.
Wow, thank you. I'm impressed. Well, we do have 34 people watching today. Thank you guys. I feel so inadequate. I feel so inadequate because I'm testing around something that clearly doesn't work, but I'm seeing what I want to see. By the way, you notice how often that I don't get filled in, it just goes. So that's the sort of thing that I want to see. It's also interesting that when we get size, that it's in the micros and it holds it. Oh, that's particularly weird. It must be some robot that's clearly doing the same thing. 37. Wow, are we gonna get to 40 viewers today?
Andre Santos says I'm done, guys. Andre Santos says have a safe day.
I thank you, Andre.
Captain America says you want me to send Doctor Strange for your protection in stock market. Winston's mom says bye. Andre Santos happy Wednesdaying.
Thank you. Send Doctor Strange for my protection. You know what? It would have helped
mom
yesterday.
Says Doctor Who?
Would have helped yesterday, but now you haven't seen Doctor Strange. You know that's one of the better Marvel movies in my opinion. I found the first Doctor Strange so interesting. Oh, come on. Okay. See, that was a good setup and they just diced it. No. So that time I tried hitting into the price. That doesn't seem to work. I mean, maybe this trade works out, but it wasn't the way that I wanted that to happen.
Captain America says well I tell you secret in next Avengers I am not in it, do not tell anyone.
You're not in there. Right? It's that other guy that nobody really knew about or cared about until the end of the last movie that is Captain America basically now, right? Oh no, wait, Bucky is Captain America now. I'm wrong. There's Bucky, but then there's the wing guy too, right? See, they just hate me. This doesn't work. You see? I mean, I think we've proven that it doesn't work. The question is, how do we take what we've learned and apply it to a trade that does work? And I'm wondering if maybe part of it is just that this market is a little too wild. So the chances of you getting an 8-tick stop to hold are like nil. And the sweep comes back in. There is a very insistent short out there, I think. Okay. The thing that I find so weird though is that I'm never getting 8
Captain
ticks
America
favorable.
says no I am here, that's why I am not at shooting right now chatting with you, maybe I should contact DC.
Maybe. Not shooting right now. Are they shooting another movie right now? I kind of stopped following it. There was a time when I was really interested in what was happening with those movies, and then after the last one, after the whole Thanos thing, I was like, okay, I'm done with. Good job, guys. I'm done now. Wow. Okay. Here's where they sweep it down and take out my stop. Okay, that time it actually held. Oh, that time I actually did get 8. And look, they came right back to my price and held it again. That's the kind of behavior that starts to mess with your head, right? Like, do they know? Are they watching and specifically moving it to those spots because of me? No, that can't possibly be the case. And yet, it happens so often without any rhyme or reason other than what I'm doing is the opposite of what they do.
Captain America says how do I know they don't want me movie, I think maybe because I am old, I guess, what do you think?
Well, he was pretty old at the end of that movie. I'm sure that there's going to be the Chronicles. I think that they set it up for him to be able to come back and do movies, in the timeline that he went back to the 50s and then came forward. That's obviously what they're planning on doing, so that they can have movies that are just Captain America again, except for that he'll be like, incognito or trying to be, not reveal himself to the world. I think that's what they were trying to do. Nope.
Randy S. says howdy Seth, waving hand. Captain America
Hey,
says
Randy.
Winston's mom Dr. Stranger Things for lol.
I don't think this is a tradable market for me. So interesting. Sure is fast and furious right now, is it?
Captain America says okay, enough fun talk, let's business chat, sup Seth.
Well, one of these times I'm going to catch it. It's so freaking weird. Like, I place it and they immediately come back to it. Like, how is that happening?
Winstan's mom says Stranger Things in this upside down world when it's 11 o'clock in Riverdale and Nick Fury is concept art. Captain America says what I am watching now, speculator Seth.
Well, so what you see is a depth of market. So the blue columns are limit orders buying and the red columns are limit orders selling at a specific price. And then the columns in between that are the market orders hitting into that. And we can kind of look at the way that those numbers change in reaction to certain moves to try and determine which way it's going to go. So just there, I'm trying to identify an area in which the buyers will be able to overcome the sellers. And it looks like I did identify it, but it might not. It ran and it's coming back.
Captain America says so do I need margin account for this or I have TFSA?
Yeah, so you have to have a margin account. On the micro futures, it's $50 in margin per contract. I'm trading in sim right now though, because I was a very bad boy yesterday. And even here you can watch. I've lost this many times in a row. I'm taking a trade that I know is going to lose. To try
Gary
and
Rich
collect
says
some
new home
information
sales
about
big
it.
print. Something good in the news.
Oh yeah, 7.64 million versus 0.71 million. I forgot that was news was out. New home sales 7.9 versus expected 3.5. It's good, but the E-mini isn't really reacting to it too much yet, is it? In fact, I didn't even see the pull in the
Christoph
treasuries.
Chesney says I know the answer. Can you play opposite?
Well, but the thing is Christoph, is that I've been doing that. The problem with this market is that the range is more than 8 ticks. In a regular market, I would maybe be able to get away with
Captain
some of
America
these.
says well right now I am negative $800.
Wow. Well, I'm sorry, dude. This market is just gonna, take everything from you, I think. Like they're saying the SMB Capital was doing really well. I'm surprised because it's this kind of action can be really bad for market makers because you'll have a
Randy S
stop.
says
It's
this
just
week has been
much
way
more
too
likely
erratic.
to hit, right? This one, just on this one, for instance, we've had 15 ticks favorable excursion, but we had 6 ticks unfavorable. So it's held to my 8, but how much more would it take to go 2 more ticks? Right? It was just kind of a random happenstance that stop held. And then, maybe that stop would have hit and then we would have moved back up to here and then it would have taken off and we'd be like, oh man. In fact, it still might do it. Look. Well, there you go. And now maybe it might turn around. Like it there, you never know. And I've tried taking it short too, right? Well, there's a real bottleneck there. That's for sure. Anyways, I guess a better way to say this is if you play the opposite, you're going to lose too, right? But I'm more interested in the stats of it.
Captain America says Apple Microsoft some pennies and you guys I don't know I was thinking to long term but this is bad yo.
Oh yeah, so your larger portfolio. Well, Apple, man, when I was looking at Apple in particular, I was like, this is unsustainable. So I'm not surprised that Apple has taken it on the nose. I think that's probably a really big part of why the market has been hit as bad as it has. This is really interesting though, how
Masiak says
hard
Seth are
the
you playing on
sellers are
paper
fighting.
trade or real account now?
Oh, this is totally paper, dude.
Captain America says it was at $288.
I mean, look, none of these have worked, right?
Christoph Chesney says if anyone can fade your moves today, that will be jackpot.
No. It wouldn't work. You
Captain
would lose.
America says what?
Try it. Try it. The reason that I'm losing is because I have an 8 tick stop. But here what we're interested in is if I sort it by this. Okay. So there was a few 8, 26, and then not. Okay. Make sure that I get everything like sorted correctly. All right. Now this one, I got 8. Cool. More than that. Might have caught it.
Captain America says paper trading I was thinking this dude looks serious killer in stock market.
Well, I was trading live all last week, but then after yesterday, I'm gonna have to back off a little bit because uh, basically what I discovered yesterday was that the particular thing that because I was doing really well. I had made like I think $200 scalping.
Captain America says, where are you from?
Oh, I'm from Utah. I made like $200 scalping, and then this market came along and wiped it out. And I was like, okay, so is it just that the market is too volatile for my stop? That's part of it. But then I was looking at it more, and there was a couple of things that I noticed, and so I went and I did back testing, and I found that what I was looking at, I was really just catching noise, and it was just happenstance that I had done it as well as I had. So I'm trying to go back now and look for a slightly different situation. So what I'm doing right now is I'm taking it every time that I see this situation possibly happening, right? Which means that you're only going to get it like 1% of the time. But then when I do catch it, I can look back and see, okay, so what are some of the conditions that I really need to make that trade worth taking? And when I do take that trade, what are the stats on it, right? Like this one, I've gotten 26 favorable ticks. It went against me 7. I hit into that one. So if I had not hit into that one, I could have gotten 4 ticks excursion, which is maybe okay. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do right now. That makes sense. Sorry, I know that you guys want to just see somebody come in and like just kill it all the time, but that's not me. That's not me. I have my bad times, and yeah, you're gonna see bad times. Well, every trader in futures, that's what's gonna happen. But I'm particularly stubborn, man. Look at it come back. So what?
Captain America says, bro, what do you think about Shaq in stocks? I am negative $70.
SHAK. I'm not familiar with that ticker. I don't really follow individual stocks very much at all, honestly. I'm macro. We're macro here. Really, the thing I specialize in is the treasuries, right?
RJ Wheels says, what were you losing on? E-mini or bonds?
It was on E-mini. It was on the E-mini. It was micros, but it was very much like what you see right here. Like I would take one. Of course, I was taking different spots in different situations, but it was just like it'd stop it out every time. Really crazy freak moves like that. And then every once in a while, but what was happening before was I was catching them. Like I just kept going short and I was catching them, and then all of a sudden there was a range and it just diced me up so fast. I mean, I guess the answer to that one is that I just can't scalp in that kind of action. Or I need to be looking for something that's really specific. I don't know. Just your chances of being able to catch it with 8 ticks risk are really slim to none.
Captain America says, what you do exactly, job or just?
So I have a day job where I'm a site reliability engineer. So I program, but I specifically program processes that allow our software developers to see when their website is down and collect stats about the performance of it and stuff like that. So I've done just about everything in software engineering, but that's what I'm doing right now. It's a site reliability engineering. So I have a day job. That's where, I'll trade like teeny tiny amounts in micros, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't.
Captain America says, you are programmer, how much you charge to make app?
Oh, I don't really have the time to make an app right now. I do like to help people with NinjaTrader strategies. So if you have a NinjaTrader strategy that you would like to see, I would, and you can really be really specific about the situation that you're looking to catch, then I can take a look at it. And I do that just because I can use the strategy too and I learn from it.
Arash says thank you for your point of view on Bitcoin. I was really interested in journalytics that you suggested, but when I tried to install it, both Norton and Windows Defender gave me warning not to do it.
Well, that's interesting. So when I install Jigsaw, I will get the message that it's like an unverified publisher, and then you have to push the button like run, like details, and then it lets you run anyway. But Norton triggering off is a little weird. But what I would do is submit it to them as a false positive, because what it's doing is it's saying that we
RJ
don't
Wheel says, do you charge
recognize
for
as
Ninja Strat?
publisher. Nah, I haven't been. I mean, if you wanted something really complicated, then I suppose maybe I would, but I suppose maybe I would, but anyways. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought there. Yeah, journalytics though, what were you trying to install? Because I didn't know that I mean I use it through Jigsaw. It's built into Jigsaw. I don't know how you work it with like the other platforms. If they give you an installer and it just installs the plugins for the different platforms, or how that works. Yeah. Okay, so they came up here. It's definitely the spot. So now the question is how far it can go. I do see at 66 there was an area of congestion.
Arash says, well, it says that it works with Ninja 8. Winston's
okay.
mom says you were telling Arash to tag his Norton issue and report it as a something something.
Oh, well, you can, if it gives you, if it identifies it as like spyware or whatever, then you can submit it to them as a false positive. Because what they do is, when you publish something, you can sign it. But to sign software, you have to pay for the license with the VeriSign people and all of this sort of a thing. And so a smaller publisher might not do that. And what some of these applications do is they say, well, if it's not signed and it's not an application that I recognize, then I'm just going to flag it as malware. So you get a false positive. So what you have to do is you have to submit it to them as a false positive, and then they'll go, oh yeah, okay, this is Jigsaw, this is legitimate software, we'll get rid of it. Or you can just, disable your virus software when you install it, and then enable it afterwards. And which is totally safe to do, by the way, because if it's like actual malware or virus, then when you scan your computer after installing it, it will scan it and it will see that it's not doing anything malicious. It's just the install part when it says I won't let you install something it doesn't recognize.
Captain America says, thank for chat. I'll check you later. You got my sub.
Hey, thank you very much. I'm glad they were able to get one of these to run for you guys.
Says, okay, we'll do that. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. So this trade is interesting. I just got to figure out the right set of conditions. So this is not, you can't take it every time on a micro time frame. I could take it. No, that wouldn't work either. I don't know. They don't seem to be making a whole lot of progress on the upside either. Although, what was Algo Lover's number? Was 76? Is that where they stopped? Oh my gosh, it is. Well, I bungled that one. When they bounced off of that, I should have been immediately short up there. I gotta figure out how he's calculating that number, man. Hard bounce off of it too many times. Okay. So new high. You know, what I'm doing here is kind of almost the opposite thing, right? Like I can see, I'm looking for the situation. Haven't actually seen it. Could happen in here though. It's already 8:20, huh? So I think I can probably leave this on for the next 10 minutes, but if they break 31.76, I think that you got something that you can pretty much just hold. So still some stops. Man, you guys all forgot. You were all yappy about the coronavirus, and it's like, you know, just completely dropped it. Where's the one that John is trying to show me here? That one right there. Oh. No, that's not right. This chart does not match mine. When did he post that to me? 8:20, just barely.
Ekareo says, did you buy a lifetime license from NT or do you pay the monthly fee?
No.
Bot says that's a tick chart, not a 5-minute chart.
Well, what's confusing me, John, is that didn't we touch 31.75? But I guess that particular spot is way further out. I guess. Yeah, it must be. So then you're pointing out that there is a up bar and that there was a pivot high there. So you're saying that it should be that you should get out, right? Could be. I do see. Okay. Actually, let's do it right there. A good even number, if it will allow us.
Bot says I was only showing the measured move up off those pivot lows to the left side of that screenshot.
But isn't this also the situation that you were talking about? If I can, I'll get in really big.
Bot says actually in the middle of that screenshot.
See right there? There's an outside bar. It created a pivot. The low of it broke. Isn't that the setup? Or the setup, not the setup that we were talking about earlier, but the one that you were trying to relay to me. Although if this is that setup, so the thing would be short, and you would say on the close of this bar, maybe?
Bot says yes, except that red candle formed a pivot low.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. See, if we had taken it on this one, you know, I guess you could put your stop there and you're not stopped out on it yet. So it could do it. Like the thing that I was finding when I was back testing it was just that this situation, like a one outside bar in and of itself, was not a significant enough of a factor to actually have a really good probability of something happening. And in fact, that area tends to be so congested. I mean, you can just see here's the high, and then what? It came all the way back to here, right? That you're just really likely to get stopped out of those. But if you do get the situation, which is like that outside bar ends up being a critical level that people seem to think that
Bot
the market
says
is
based
turned
on
around
what we
on.
were talking about earlier, the entry there would be a limit short on the close of that red bar.
On the close of the red bar. Oh, because the red bar was when they right. So would the stop be...
Bot says, but that was not the purpose of the screenshot.
Yeah, I gotcha. You were talking about what you wanted me to see was over here. It formed a pivot low. Now it confirmed at 31.52. Where did I take it? 31.49. It came back all the way to 31.51. Well, it still might be the same thing though.
Bot says correct entry at the 3,151.0025% level.
See, what I'm getting at is like, so in this particular one, we want to see a close above this. Oops. That's way too big. This right here. This was the bar that, and we want to see, for it to confirm, we need to see a close above the previous bar's high. Right? So this is the one that confirms it. So now you're at here. Do you put your order in right here at 31.52? And what I'm testing is no, you don't. You put it at 31.51. You put it in at like 31.51, which happens to be this right here. And in this particular instance, you might have gotten filled. Let's go back and look. If I go back to 31.51, it's questionable if you would have gotten filled. But that's all I'm saying. Because the thing is like, assuming that, I don't think that a pivot's probably enough to do it either, but if we just assumed that because of other filters about the pivot, that we have a 55-60% chance of it going up there once we get that confirmation, then if you can get it 1 point lower your actual probability of the trade working out is actually higher, and it tends to run more if you can get it right there. That's what the backtesting was doing, and that's what I was trying to show today. And I think I did, because I got 31.49, because I was looking at the way that I did it was I was looking at this bar, but I didn't see it in the bar. I saw it on the DOM. Entry at the 31.51, 25% level. Yeah. So the reason that I got 49 was because I saw there was a just like what we saw right here. There was, okay, well they've gone way too far now. Okay, but from here to
Bot
here.
says the idea with the measured move entry is to set a buy stop to enter at that 25% level.
Yeah. So what I did was, if this was the move. So now if they touch this, okay, it was at 67. They didn't touch it. Oh my gosh, that's so annoying. That maybe I need to turn that off. They didn't touch it.
Amin Riyadh says, can I have your email, please?
Yeah, here, let me type it here in YouTube. Yeah, but usually, so you can send me emails. There's also a Discord. Link is in the description. And if you join that Discord and then you send me a message on Discord, I usually respond to those pretty quickly. And
Speculator Seth says twdsje@gmail.com.
I'm not, I mean, I get a lot of messages, don't get me wrong. I get messages every day, but I love it, and I'm at the point where I can totally spend the time to respond to everyone and help you out. And I'm
Amin
more than
Riyadh
willing
says
to do
thank
that.
you.
So there you go. Okay, so they did it. They did it. I wasn't paying attention. So they did it. So then you would want to get in at 66 or 67, but you would want them to go through it first. You want them to go through it by a point. And then you want to try and get at that key level or at 1 point below it, depending on what you want. Like, you're not going to get filled 1 point below it as often. So that's it right there. You're not going to get filled on it as often, but it tends to be a better trade. But again, just what we were talking about. Yeah, of course. So remember what we were doing was, because there was a move from here to here. So it is a break of this to here. At that point, a really good probability trade. It seems like it's not, actually. Right? When it works, it's really great, but the probability on it is not very good. The probability is that they're just going to continue to be noisy. So I need a better probability setup. Now with the pivot from John, that might be enough. I'll try and program that one tonight. I guess I could show you the code. Are you okay with me showing the code, John? You want me to show you what I got? Because there's a couple of other things in there that might be useful to people. Because I did it all the cool things. I learned a lot about the strategies I didn't know before. Well, dang, see that one? It stopped me out, but then it went in, but then it went up. It might be that I actually have a really good probability here, but I don't. The stop is too tight. Fade out and give a shooting star, and now they're canceling it out. I think we need something more like, well, like for instance, Algo Lover's price, right? Like we knew at 76. I saw the situation up there when it was up at 76, and I didn't realize what it was. But then you could have gone and you could have maybe have taken, you maybe could have taken that. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I better post my cryptocurrency notes. So that's another thing. If you're new, I have a Patreon, small little Patreon. Like I said, I have a regular job. I don't depend on trading for my income, so don't feel obligated to support me or anything like that. But any support that you do give helps the channel and allows us to trade more and do more interesting things. So I appreciate it when you do. And I have a Patreon that you can donate to, $5 a month, and I post cryptocurrency charts every day. So if you contribute, you get the cryptocurrency charts. And these tend to give you really, really good information about if Bitcoin is overbought or oversold. So, it was kind of overbought. So if you're a little confused as to why Bitcoin came down so much, maybe go and give the Patreon a read, because even if you're not subscribed, you can see posts from a week ago. Once they're a week old, then you can see them. So give that a look. I'm gonna go and post it here. And they've been changing Patreon a lot lately. Now, did I miss Monday?
Arash says we'll do that, thanks.
Thank you. All right. For it's Wednesday, right? Cool. What time is it? 39. My little text reader thing, Google only gives you so many lookups. That's every time that I'm looking and getting new messages from you guys. But it only works, and sometime around now, I'll run out of requests and it'll start complaining. Something's happening. The market's upset that I'm about to leave. That's what's wrong. Okay, CDC's diagnostics tests for the viruses have malfunctioned, and only about a dozen state and local health agencies even have them. The CDC is working on a new one, but in the meantime, the US has only tested some 426 people for the virus. This could be an epic healthcare failure. Oh, okay. So, some fear mongering out there. They're holding it for now, but we might turn. I don't know if they can make it above 75. If they break it, then we should be able to go more. Somebody's telling me that that's actually old news. That could be. Well, now they're catching some people short, so they might have the ability to push them into 75. Okay, well, I think that when I was looking through things here, let's just come back again and look. You can see that many of them. Okay, so there was 11, 15, 82. These ones, though, 5, 4, 2. Six. Okay. Some of these actually had okay, but in general, they are just stopping out. So it looks to me like the reason that one doesn't work is because of the adverse tick. That's why it's so bad. Because you need to get a little bit of a short impulse to even get filled, and then it's going to come in, and then there's a chance that they push further. So we need to, but it does show that when you catch a spot that it can run. So I think that that's one particular situation that I think gives us a little bit of edge, but we need to find a more favorable spot. So, like in terms of the amount of volume, cumulative delta that's gone through, or a pivot, I think that John's pivot might work. I can backtest those, though. So, more research necessary. I don't know if you guys got anything else. Let's close this. I will see you guys tomorrow. I apologize that I'm not live today. I feel so bad. I feel like I let you all down. But, what happens, happens. What should we call today's stream? I'll just call it Markets Fight Recovery as coronavirus scare continues. All right, so I will see you guys tomorrow. And in the meantime, stay profitable.